The sword resides not in the hand, but in the heart, even without a weapon. The sword resides not in the hand, but in the heart. Even without a weapon, a warrior can slay his enemy for 100 paces. But the ultimate ideal is when the sword disappears altogether. The warrior embraces all around him. The desire to kill no longer exists. Only peace remains. The King of Qin in Hero 2020, a 2002 production.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited. I wasn't excited with that voice, but I'm excited. But you know what I'm excited about?
What's that?
Welcome to the Fiction Podcast with your host, Frank and
Justin.
There we go.
I was waiting. You left me in suspense there.
I did. You know,
I just didn't know where you were going to go. And I was like, did you forget the hook?
Did I forget the beginning, the hook, how we get it going? I did not. Thank you all for joining us again. This is season 4 of the Fiction Podcast, where we are studying the ancient world. Started out with Homer's The Iliad and the Odyssey. We're going to end with Homer's The Odyssey, but the movie, but everything in between, we're dicing it all up. So we're going to the Far East today. We're going to talk about a 2002 movie starring Jet Li, director Zhang Yimou. And this is, I told Justin last week, and I hope I didn't pump it up a little too much, but this is a movie that I think is really nice to introduce you to sort of like wuxi and some of the philosophy that goes through some of these productions. Not the best, but I do think it's a fun introduction. So this is something that gets through storytelling, sacrifice, political intrigue, whether peace is worth submission, just all these juicy themes, but introducing us to wuxi and some fun martial arts and some fun characters and actors of the day. By the day, I mean early 2000s. So with that, Justin, just a thumbs up or thumbs down. Did it fit the bill? Were you excited? Was that okay?
Hands out, hands down, thumbs up. It was great. I very much enjoyed it. I had not seen it, so this was my first run through.
Good.
And it definitely brought me back to, I know you'll probably address it or talk about it later, but it definitely brought me back to like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and a lot of those movies in the early 2000s that were kind of like being released with this style. Like they even, like, I don't know if it's necessarily kung fu, but like the acrobatic attack and fighting like up in the air and, you know, obviously being swung over and just the slow play of it, but the really long one-on-one fight scenes and the, like I said, the acrobatics of it. Cause what comes to mind was I remember they redid the Three Musketeers in a style similar to this around this time period. It was a little bit after. I think these movies kind of set the stage for that style of combat. And so when I watched it, so I really got to watch this just from an entertainment standpoint because it was the first time. I think I'd probably get a little bit more philosophical the more I watched it. But it brought me back to that time period and those movies. And I remember how popular those movies were. And they were just all the rage. It was a huge deal. It was really unique. And at the time when these were all being released, it was something that maybe hadn't quite been done before in this manner and really kind of left its mark, I think, on movies and just that genre in general. So that was just kind of my initial thoughts on it.
Nice. No, I appreciate that. I think that's great. No, and this is following Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, kind of bringing that style of wuxi and filmmaking into the West. I know like this didn't bring it, but like, in the early 2000s, those were popular movies that really stylized and showed that, put it to the forefront. People were like, well, you can't fly. Like they're flying, they're like walking on air. It's martial arts. It's an art form. It's a dance. It's a language. So you have to think about that as they're depicting their wuxi and their martial arts. So I think
it's also, I think when people argue that, or if they were to make that comment, I think that is fair. However, the individual, it's not everyone in the movie can do that.
Exactly.
So it is those that are like the best of the best and that have spent their life and dedicated their life to this craft are able to do that. Not the common soldier. They can't just all of a sudden fight like this. So I kind of dig it.
It's like people who like, let's say Lord of the Rings. It's like Legolas. Like not everyone's a Legolas and everyone's an Aragorn, right? But there are a few who are. But no, so we'll take a step back, right? So what we're exploring this season, we're talking about the legend, the hero. What makes someone legendary? What makes someone a hero? Because Homer's Iliad and Odyssey focuses on quote unquote heroes. They're flawed, they have issues, but they're the heroes of the epics, right? So we're going through different ancient, air quotes here, ancient cultures, talking about sort of those legendary hero figures through movies, and we will do some select books as well too. So we are in, the like I said, the Far East here. We're talking about Hero, talking about the star of the movie, Jet Li, playing the character Nameless. And so we'll get right into it. What we like to do is we'll give you a quick summary. There will be spoilers, not in the summary, but in our discussion, right? We expect this to be, someone who's either watched a movie or is interested in the dialogue enough to go, I do want to go catch this movie, right? Same thing when we do books. We'll hit the summary, we'll talk about key characters, we'll talk about the themes, we'll talk about the world building, we'll try and wrap it into sort of our general theme for season 4, right? Think about ancient world, legendary heroes and all that, and then we'll add in two favorite segments. One we always do, we grade. We grade a movie, we grade a book. That's us. We like to grade. Now we've added this for this season, given Justin and I's not like hatred, just a strong dislike for the character Ron Weasley from the Harry Potter series. We've added the Ron Weasley Award. We'll tell you more about that later. But right now, we'll start with a summary. Real quick. All right, so this is set during the chaotic final years before the unification of China. Hero follows a nameless warrior who arrives at the court of the King of Qin, claiming to have defeated the ruler's greatest assassins. As he recounts his stories, the stories unfold through multiple conflicting versions of events, forcing the audience to question what is true, what is performance, and what stories become legend, right? So, beneath all this, our hero explores the themes of sacrifice, politics, unity, revenge, and the cost of peace. Uh, I think even though there is amazing fighting, it's less interested in about who wins a fight and more interested about why people fight at all. And so I think with that, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. This movie is a story about stories. I mean, I think we find out within the first 30 minutes that we're like, actually don't know what happened and what's going on. So starting with that, right? I'm going to start with a couple things here and lead into a question, right? Each retelling of the story, right? So the assassin, nameless, goes to the emperor or the king of Qin, and he's telling him, I killed 3 assassins that you feared the most. And the emperor or the king's like, tell me more. And nameless is telling him. Then the emperor interrogates him and says, no, it really happened like this. And then Nameless is saying, no, it really happened like this. And then we have flashbacks to say, no, it really happened like this. And each time we have a different story, we have a different color, right? So we start out with the black, the stormtrooper black, right? Then you got the red, the blue, the flashbacks with the green, then the pure white, and then back to black. So what does that mean? A spoiler alert. According to the director, according to him, it means absolutely nothing. He basically said, yes, yes, each color represents a different period and a different way of telling the story. Really didn't have any meaning behind it. I just wanted to tell a beautiful story, so I used different colors. That hasn't stopped all of us from saying, no, no, no. But what does it mean? So, Justin, philosopher Justin, philosopher King, what does it mean?
So I thought about this, and you're going to absolutely hate my answer.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you're going to hate this. You're absolutely going to hate it, and I apologize. I don't get why it has to mean anything. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I think everyone's looking for something. If he's going to sit there and say it doesn't mean anything, I don't get why we have to assume that it means something. Why do we have to go looking for more? There's enough enlightenment in this film. There's enough other locations. There's enough like other feelings and deep thoughts and themes throughout this film that I don't think we have to force something if they don't believe it's there.
Mm,
Why can't it be that way?
mm,
That's
mm,
my question. That's what I'm going to
mm.
throw back at you.
Listen,
That's
James,
what I'm going to throw back at
he
you.
said each color represents a different period and a different way of telling the story.
I know, but I
So
think you're, I think you're,
he it has to
I
mean
just think
something.
you,
It
I just
has
think
to
you,
mean something
why does it have to mean something, Frank?
because the choreograph moves, they had the song player in the beginning where I think he was fighting
Yep.
Sky, right?
Sky.
And
Yeah,
he's
that was a
like,
great.
and
That was, by the way, my favorite.
beautiful,
I know.
beautiful.
Spoiler. That was my
That's
favorite
with Donnie Yen,
overall. Yeah,
beautiful
loved it.
Jet Li. They're
The water,
but
like with the water dropping
so
and like seeing it hit
so
the.
whoever. So if you haven't seen it, right, it's the beginning. They're fighting. The guy who is playing stops, and his old man's leaving, and they both stop fighting and say, "Excuse me, sir, will you continue playing?" He sits back down, starts playing, and in their mind, they're fighting each other to the music and to the rain, right? Everything about this movie has beautiful effects and meaning about both mind, soul, body, and everything else. So, yes, sir, I understand that he was just like, listen, it wasn't like I had a deep seated meaning here. Like, I wasn't like Brandon Sanderson, like giving you 15,000 pages on like why it's
Right.
red. But there's a reason why it starts black and why the emperor or the king and his army are in black, right? And it goes
Yeah,
to red for passion.
I
Yeah,
know.
it goes to blue.
I had to play
It
that
goes to
advocate.
white when he's telling his side of the story, right? It
Right.
goes the beautiful jade green when it's a flashback from Broken Sword, who's telling how they almost killed the king, but they decided not to. So I get it. Like there isn't like the director told her this his meaning, but you know how it happens. You read a book, you watch a movie, we add
Right.
meaning into it. There's got to be some sort of vibe behind that.
Yeah, I think you can put it that way. I think you can have it. If you want it and you're searching for it, you
Yeah,
can have it,
yeah.
Frank. You can have that if that's what you want. I saw it, so when I mean, just to be complete, like, I think if I watched this multiple times and really looked at it from that angle going through it, I would definitely pick up or look at that. I think you'd have to almost, I guess, if you've never seen this movie, so I hadn't, and you weren't specifically watching it to watch it in that way, I
Mhm.
don't think you would pick up on it as much. What I think how you would feel instead is you would just think, which is how I initially thought of it, was it's just a beautifully shot movie. It's when the color is
Yep.
brought in, it's well done. It's
Yeah.
not overstated. I agree. I get where you have the different emotions and the different feelings when you look back on it that way, but I don't think that if you haven't seen this before, I don't think you're going to watch this and immediately pick up on that and take it that way.
Yeah.
I think you definitely have to do some deep thinking and maybe some soul searching to come to that level. So I don't think when I saw it, I will admit, like when I saw it, I get how you have come to this and you've researched it and you've done that route. And looking back on it, I can definitely see that, especially with the ones that stood out for me was like the red stood out for me
Yep.
like clear as day. And it was just that just all of those scenes were awesome. But I looked at it more, to be honest, I looked at it more as just like it was just beautifully shot
Yeah.
as opposed to the deeper meaning. But that's because I didn't see it that way.
Yeah.
Had I probably seen this like multiple times, we've been looking for it and going that route, I probably would have felt that way.
Yeah. I mean,
But oh, go ahead. I was just
no.
saying, looking back on it,
Yeah.
I
I would.
see how you get to that.
I would agree with you. I think what he wanted to do most of all was to tell a beautiful story, which is
Uh-huh.
kind of what he did, right? The martial arts and then the color scheme made it beautiful, right? Like just like
Right.
there's something to be said when you've got the blue, uh, where they're in the scroll room, even the scrolls are blue, and then they're in the scroll room and everything is white, but it's like serene white, and then they're attacking the king of Chin or the emperor of Chin, and like the little like draperies are green and like the
Hmm.
curtains are falling, the silk curtains, and they're so it's beautiful. But I will say, like, when you think about it, like subliminally, right? Red, this is when passion, this is when Broken Sword and oh my
Yeah.
god, what's blanking on her name? Uh
The flying snow.
Flying Snow, yeah. Like they betrayed each other, right? For passion. Like Blue is when, Nameless gave him the ultimatum and it's like you have to pick who's gonna sacrifice, right? White's when you find out about his true deepest
Yep.
secrets. So you could see the color scheme making sense, but he could also be like, I just I thought that it would enhance the story by going with that color. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that those colors in like just for us, red, black, the way you describe red and black, especially, I think stand out because I think that most people would look at red and see it as either is power or like what was it is as jealousy or
Hmm.
as like anger or
Passion or
passion,
anger.
or
Yep.
it's just a bright color that does that. And I think that's probably why red's the one that stood out to me the most because looking back, I vividly remember sitting there, and when it got to the calligraphy school, I was like, "Holy crow, this is just beautiful." Like, and then you felt it, and you felt it a little bit more between those two characters, and so I can see how you have or how you put that together. How other people, it's not just you, for the record. It's this is you're not out on a limb. I don't feel like you're alone in the world on doing the colors like this. I just don't think I was able to pick up on each individual one.
Yeah.
Now the black, I did like I associated that with the Emperor and with that crew and all
Hmm.
of that, and just being bad. I guess like black, it just tends to be that way in
Hmm.
our society,
What
so
you
we
trying
look
to
at the
say,
colors
man?
that way.
What you saying? What you saying, Justin?
Really gonna
Uh,
go there? Yeah, you
oh,
gotta
I
go there
go
with it.
there every day.
Yeah.
I go there.
That's not how that was meant. But like I'm thinking like Darth Vader. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah,
That's if that's where you want to go with it.
yeah,
But I just think that the dark colors are more passionate colors. They stand out more. They speak more highly in
yeah,
this. And so that's why for me black and red stood out the most.
yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense.
And so, but I didn't put it all together until I honestly went to start preparing for this podcast to talk. Like I watched the film and then I was reading notes and your notes and reviews and all this stuff. And I was like, man, right over my head.
Woo! Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's funny because he kind of wanted to have like, was it memory versus performance? Like and so for those who aren't familiar with some other works in this fashion, like it's not a martial arts movie, but he wanted to style this. He was inspired by Rashomon, and I know that well Rashomon. I don't know how people pronounce that, but I know that I know, Justin, I know you either watched or you wanted to watch it, but uh, the director who did that, that's like a movie that's echoed throughout Western Hollywood. We've done various versions of that storytelling where it's like the false narrator or the unreliable narrator, right? Like you bring people in, each telling the story, and like they're adding stuff, deleting stuff, and it's all different, and you're trying to piece together what really happened.
Hmm.
Rashomon, that's how it started. That director is amazing. If you like that, go to Yojimbo, Sanjuro, see some of those stuff. They're really good movies. So that's what influenced him. And I thought that was like really good in how he did it, especially in sort of mixing in again, just the beauty of it, right? So thinking about just like beautiful martial arts and all that, we've got this world, but then our key character, man, is nameless. We just have this dude, right? Like we learn like five things about him, but throughout the time piece, whether you're listening, and I think it's like Mandarin or I don't know if they did Cantonese or whichever variation or English, it's nameless, right? So let's talk about him. He's our hero, right? I guess the ultimate question we should start with is he a hero, right? We've talked about like Leonidas from 300, Achilles from Troy, even Moses from the Prince of Egypt. Like, is Nameless in the same name category as them?
That is a tough one. I've pondered that a lot, and I don't know if I don't think he is. I don't. I think, but I also think it just depends on which side of history or which side you're on,
Yeah,
right? So I found myself watching this, and I know we're going to get into these themes, so I'm trying not to give too much of my thoughts away for
go
later.
for it.
But
Go for it.
a big part of it is, okay, so Broken Sword was like you have to, whatever, found enlightenment by saying it's what was it, all under heaven, or everyone needs to be united. We need to stop all these wars. And but then I like was watching and I was like, yeah, so
One
you're gonna
country. Yeah, yeah,
one country, yeah, but you're gonna do this, you're gonna make this sacrifice by not eliminating the emperor, the one that's in charge, that is not really done all these great things for everyone, has this court behind him that is like just a bunch of certain like lemmings following him around, like supporting him and doing whatever
yeah.
he wants, and you're gonna have an empire. And so maybe to the people that are in the court, he could be considered he's a traitor, but they could be like, oh, well, you know what? He didn't kill him. But then you have all the people who don't want to live under an empire that you now just betray, that you went there
Hmm.
for. And I kept finding myself wondering if this was more of a storyline that fits a certain level of propaganda.
Well, it fits history.
That,
It fits
yeah,
history. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But it fits that this was the right thing to do because this is what it all eventually led to. And I don't want to live under an empire and one rule or an authoritarian government. So I don't know if I can sit and say, oh yeah, he's a hero. He's a
Mhm.
real hero of the story for the common people or the people that end up having to, suffer revenge. Somebody's going to have to suffer in this regime. Nobody under an empire or authoritarian single one person government, not everyone is getting equal share or not even equal share, but just having the ability to raise up really. And so I kind of found it more as, while it is history, but also a propaganda piece to be like, this is what's right. This is what should have been done. It should have been an empire. And so because he went with that, I would have preferred he'd still struck him down and said, look, the people don't want to be ruled by one emperor. You don't get to make that choice. And so I had a really tough time saying he was a hero.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I guess I should have taken a step back, right? There's these three assassins who are looking to kill the King of Qin. You looking to unify China. There's six different, I guess, warring states, right? And Nameless wants to kill the King of Qin because he is from a state where bad things have happened. Like you said, Broken Sword basically said one country, right? One nation.
Yeah.
He basically put it this way: they're warring states. They're going to continue to be fighting. This one guy is going to unify us and is going to stop all that fighting. So that's why. So that's why I did that quote in the beginning, because it's all about, you're looking at the swordsman's greatest desire is to put down the sword, right? So I think I agree with you. And all this is this sounds like propaganda, right? Or it sounds like this is what happened. Can we tell a unique story about
Right.
how it fully came in? And this isn't just like a story, like this is a story that's been told. Like this is a story that this director picked up on, because there is a narrative about this out there, right? So it's not just us making it up. I think that he's not a hero in the sense that he's letting, a king conquer other lands, right? This is like a Julius Caesar or Rome kind of argument. Should Rome be Rome? Should we have let Rome do what Rome did,
Right.
right? Same thing with looking at the Iliad and the Odyssey. Should we let them conquer if it means better outcomes in the end, right? I think he's a hero in the sense that he gave up his singular revenge for what he believed was a greater good for entire mass of people.
For the greater good.
For the greater good, Harry Potter.
That is not the right
Listen,
side.
listen, Dumbledore initially thought that was the right way to go.
Yeah. He realized it wasn't. I love how we brought this circle back to Harry Potter.
But no, seriously, like, so I agree with you, right? History is written by the victors, and this could be written good or bad. But the idea was he believed that this would be good for the country. Like, people will die, but less people are going to die. And if we're just taking sheer numbers, less people will die. Is that better or worse? Should I kill him and more people die, or should I save him and less people die? So should I transcend my own revenge to do something for more people? And
But is it
that's sort of where I think the story hits.
but it's the question is like, so less people die, but then what life are they going to live now under a king?
What life are they
What
living
kind of life
now
are they gonna
in warring states and fighting,
well,
rape,
don't
pillage,
know.
and all the good stuff, right? I mean,
I mean I don't know
yeah,
how well each one of them, but do we
yeah,
know,
yeah,
is someone going to be punished because they didn't want to be? How is this tyrant going to rule?
yeah.
I mean, another hero that we're not even talking about this season, that would be a question if they're a hero. A lot of people die under Darrow, but I think he would be looked at in Red Rising for everyone. That's where I'm getting this character. The Reaper. A lot of people die under him, but I think he'd be considered a hero because he is freeing this class that has been just stomped on. And so it's like, does this new in hero, do we suddenly create this class system, and then now you have these people that because they ticked him off and they didn't want to be ruled now
Yeah.
like
We
it's it
don't know.
all I think
We
it
don't
all
know.
yeah.
We don't know.
Well, I
We
mean,
don't, right? We don't know. We don't know. History is it hasn't been written yet. This isn't like
But if you
ancient
look at
history.
this,
Wait, we're talking about ancient history.
but if you, yeah, but if
Oh,
you look at this as a piece of propaganda to
oh
say this
yeah.
is the,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think they're telling us
Well,
it's the
I mean,
truth.
yeah. I mean, like in 300, we had Leonidas and the Spartans, and the propaganda was the Persians were the evil, right?
Yeah,
they're the sinful East, and we're the good guys. So we prop ourselves up, right? I mean, it's sadly the Iliad. I think the wrong side wins, right? The
I
Greeks,
agree.
they come in, they
How
pillage, so like,
how have we not talked about that? How do we both agree that the wrong side won? And we didn't even. I don't think we brought that up in all of these episodes.
that's true.
That we're like, man,
Well,
wrong side won.
we'll have some interludes where we can go back to that
Yeah,
and bring that up. But yeah, that is yeah. So I again, this is sort of like what we've talked about this a lot, like the whole propaganda piece, right? So I think at the end of the day, we both acknowledge that, like, not the director. I'm not saying the director had a propaganda, like viewpoint. Like this is what he wanted, but the story itself has that, right? Like it's supporting that view of authoritarian
right.
rule, but it's also supporting the rule of, like, I think Broken Sword mentioned this, and I think this is a transition question to you. Like, was Broken Sword the first to realize that, like, too much violence begets violence, right? He's like, we need to stop the violence. I can kill him or I cannot, and that hopefully would stop the violence. Like, did he, like you said, did he transcend or was he duped?
I think he found. I don't know if it's transcend. I don't know if he transcended or found true enlightenment. I think
Yeah.
he probably found what he thought was peace in that you you can't just continue to kill somebody else. Like it's always gonna, like you said, violence begets violence and it just keeps
Hmm.
going. And it's just this and never ending circle. And I think he realized like something had to change. But I also think eliminating the king could also change the outcome in a tragically different or in a major different role. And so I don't know. I think once again, I think it depends on the fallout of everything that happens. I don't know. I kind of, if you had to make me choose one, I kind of feel like he was a little bit duped because, I don't want the authority. It goes back to what I want, which is
Yeah.
I think I naturally, and I think we all naturally probably think that authoritarian rule is probably not a good thing and doesn't usually lead to what is best for or the majority of the
Hmm.
people. And so, yeah, in that way, I'm like, kind of like, you get to lay down your sword
Yeah.
like once you're done fighting. But
Yeah.
or did he just give up? Or was he just like, I've just given up. I'm not gonna be the one to do this anymore. Someone else has to do it because I can't carry that
Well,
burden.
he actually he was going to protect him. Like he was not going to let them kill him. I mean, so you said he got duped. So are you more Flying Snow? Are you
Yes.
more in her
Yep.
camp?
Yep.
Burn the earth,
I
scorch.
didn't say no. Just get rid of the king, and we'll figure it out from there. No kings.
No kings. I, so, like, what do you feel about? So we've got Nameless. We don't really know much about him besides the fact that he wanted revenge, but he laid down the sword in order to save the king. You've got Broken Sword, who also wanted revenge, but he found quote unquote enlightenment and decided that the violence was not necessary. He needed to stop that circle of continuous violence, and hopefully the king will remake it. And then you've
Right.
got Flying Snow, who basically was like, "You're an idiot, both of you. King must die." But so, what do you? I, question: Flying Snow and Broken Sword. Like, how did you feel about their relationship and, like, the chemistry or the artistry throughout the different stories of their lives? Like, did you like it? Did that enhance the movie for you? Did you, what's your thoughts? And
Yeah.
we're gonna
I'm
talk about
thinking.
Sky and Moon as well too, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think Moon plays a part in obviously plays a part in their relationships. I think Moon is a pivotal part of
Yeah.
the destruction of that relationship.
Yeah.
And
In one retelling of it, yes.
yes. And so brings that in. And yeah, I think it's an interesting storyline. I think having the two characters together and
Mhm.
their relationship is I don't know if making them have a relationship is necessary, but I think it's a I don't know if it's a pretty or beautiful part of the story. Is the right adjective, but that's probably what I'm gonna go with. It's a beautiful part of the
Mhm.
story because they're the back and forth between them. And I like I said earlier, is I love when he's at the calligraphy school. I liked that whole retelling of that story. And so I thought naturally was just drawn to it overall. And I found it interesting that they were so opposite on what they both believed
Hmm.
and felt needed to happen and who they thought was right and who thought what was right and what was wrong. And yet they were still so intimately entwined, and how it's interesting to find that some two people that have fought with each other in all the battles that they fought and had never left each other's side end up on opposite
Hmm.
halves of the coin, the yin and the yang, and they look at this completely differently, and they both have completely different thoughts on how this all needs to end. And I think that that's an important part, because obviously, like right now, I'm sitting here saying that it should have ended differently. But there is another side to that, which is obviously, which would be the broken sword side, which is this is how it was supposed it needed to
Yep.
end so we could move
Yeah.
forward and heal. And so I mean, I think it's a smaller cosm of the greater story.
Okay.
And so I think that's what it represents.
Okay.
That's just me.
No,
What
I
do I know?
wait, what do you know? Just talking on a
You know
podcast.
nothing, Jon Snow.
You know nothing. No, I like, yeah, I agree with you. I think it worked out pretty well. I like the different variations of the stories where they all had like different warring emotions, but I think the one theme that transcended everything else was that they still loved each other, even in hatred of each other at some points, right?
Mhm.
When they had the red version, even in death, they wanted like the thing that I thought about was the most beautiful thing. Spoiler alert, is that their swords always were twins of each other, right? So if Flying Snow, so Nameless takes the swords to the king to show that he killed the assassins, but in various versions, he only killed one, Flying Snow. So, but every time, Broken Sword would give his sword to Nameless because he said the swords belong to each other, right? So even I love that sort of chemistry there too. I think Flying Snow was like, I think her character um, got the worst rub
Yeah.
in this. I feel like it's like you said, they were one in pretty much everything, but this one thing at the end, and it just tore the fabric of their relationship apart. But she still loved the guy, so it was pretty interesting seeing the different takes, right, from how she reacted to that. One's out of jealousy, out of protection, out of like it just you could see that. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, she was a very which I love, was she was an incredibly passionate
Yeah,
character.
yeah,
And I loved that, and I loved how that came out in her character in every scene that she did, and in every retelling that she was just passionate. And yeah, I just think that's a beautiful part of her character.
yeah, yeah.
Might be my favorite character.
No, I think it might be too. And then we had two other characters that are not, I mean, they were kind of integral, but not really, because you had the third assassin, right? You had Sky, and he was in like 10 minutes of this movie.
Yes, but the 10 minutes were amazing.
They were
That
amazing.
fight scene was epic.
It was. It was.
And not only just the fight scene, but the filmography or the filming of it, and just how beautiful it was. I brought it up earlier. Just the rain and watching it all go down, and
Yeah.
how he fought with this spear. I thought it was
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like when that scene hit, I was hooked.
Yeah.
I mean, and that comes in quick.
Yeah.
I was ready to go. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is going to be
Yeah.
great.
I think the
So I
music
love
and
that
the
scene.
rain, Donnie Yen was
Yeah.
one of my faves. I just love it when because you're right, the long spear, like it's like, but it's still like it's metal, but the way they're whipping it, it's like the bends. I love it. Even the swords, like they're just moving so fast and so in control that their
Yeah.
sword are bending and like, but it's like it's not that it's like cheap swords and
Right.
it's just it just flows. It's like it's fluid. So
Like water,
like water. I was gonna go there.
which was the rain.
The
Yeah.
T
But where you?
the Tai Di Ching or the Dao Di Ching, however you want to say it.
If yeah,
But I wanted more of him. I'm not gonna lie. Like I felt like
I did too.
this wasn't a story about Sky, but it could have been more about Sky. He could have played more into the story, and then I wanted less of Moon.
Yeah, there was a little too much
I
man.
didn't like. Listen, let me say this all. I like her. She's done other works that I very much enjoy. So
Yeah.
it's not. It's I just like as the character. Just it was sort of like a third wheel on a third wheel. And so I just was like, yeah, sometimes you add, sometimes you don't, but So that's kind of how like I just
I,
wanted to drop those
yeah,
little pieces
she's
in for those.
I mean, Moon is needed for the retelling of the
Yes,
stories.
yes,
She's a pivotal part in the retelling of Flying Snow and Broken Sword, and she's necessary. So it's not. There are plenty of times that I will call something out and be like, "Ah, this
yeah,
character wasn't even needed for the
yeah.
retelling of this. Moon was needed for this." But I agree, and she did phenomenal in the role she played. We just didn't like the role that she played, really, is what it was, which means she did a great job playing that role. And it was well written. We both just wanted more Sky. More Sky.
Most guy.
More Sky.
Well, okay, so
I just that fight scene was so awesome.
it was.
I
Well,
wanted
like, you know
more of
what?
it.
I'm going to give you a chance to talk about it. So speaking about wanting more sky,
Yeah.
a good way for us to hit the world building about this is maybe let's talk about some of the intricate scene plays that we really enjoyed, and then we can like sort of like riff on that. So I
Okay.
think you've told us you really liked one scene. Like give us some juice. Let us know what's driving that.
Well, I mean, I'm just not gonna, for lack of a better phrase, beat a dead horse and say the exact same things. But really, it was the music was well done in it when I don't know what he's playing. I don't know what that instrument's called. Do you?
I do not.
It's
I do
yeah.
not.
I feel like that. I feel like you might have known, but we'll call it
Some point I knew, but
a.
I'm gonna embarrass myself, so I'm not gonna do it.
It is a cross between a lyre and like a guitar. I don't know. Whatever. It's whatever. Look it up, Frank. Tell me. Anyways, playing this music. It's excellent. I love the scene because the supposed seven soldiers come to fight Sky, and he doesn't even take the top off of the spear to make it deadly.
Hmm.
And so he just fights them because he knows it's not worth killing them over. And so he knows they're not going to win. He doesn't even need that advantage. And then in steps Nameless, and they start to fight, and he realizes, oh, this is someone to be taken seriously. And while the action is awesome, the fighting is great. What I really loved was the additions of the music and the shots with the water, just watching each individual drop of water fall, and whether it hit the sword or the spear or it hit another small bucket of water and you watch other drop, like it was just really beautifully done in slow motion, that it was just a very beautiful scene to watch. And so it could be appreciated on so many different levels, I felt. And one was just the beauty of it. And so for me, I just really like it. That pulled me into the rest of the movie. I was immediately invested because of this scene. So it happened at the start, and I was invested in the rest of the film.
Yeah, it's a guchen. It's a seven
Oh,
string,
thank you.
traditional seven string Chinese ziffer. So it's a yeah.
Thank you.
I've seen it so many movies, and I've seen it before, but it's like I was not gonna say
Yeah,
and
I wasn't
pronounce
either.
that correctly. So hopefully I did pronounce it correctly. If I
Better
didn't,
than I did.
you know, no, I agree with you. I think that is to me that is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this movie because again, like this, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and even oh my gosh, oof, I'm blanking the name of the movie, but it's with Our Lady Moon, and I just can't remember the name of the movie right now. But they, the way they do their wuxi and the cinematography is it literally is art. It's dancing. It's like it. It just it really is beautiful. So I that scene like kind of like depicts some of that, and it depicts anime and manga in a way as well too. But it makes it real live action, and I just really dug it. It was awesome. And I think the world building here is kind of like it's to me it's not the destination, it's how they filmed it. Because yeah, you're getting, China, you're getting like sort of like their ancient world, you're getting some of those vibes. The custom work was beautiful, but it's just honestly it's the filming of it. Again, we're talking about 2002, right? So,
Yeah.
it's not it's 20 plus years old, but to me that sings. And the music choice for the battle scene works. So it's more with the coloration and more with sort of like the cinematography for me is and I would say if we're doing one quick scene, that first scene sells to me. I think that's the best scene. I think the second best scene is like you said at the school, the calligraphy school, where Broken Sword is doing the symbol for Nameless, and the emperor's or the king's armies firing the raining swords and the swords will block out the sun, which it probably did.
You're confusing
Yeah,
your movies, but
300
yeah.
with that. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So but they broke his instrument that he was using, and then he just broke off a tip of a arrow and just continued doing his calligraphy
Yeah.
in it, and it was just like it felt like it was beauty. So I like that part of the scene, and obviously the entirety of it. So that's kind of my favorite pick.
It's really just a beautiful movie. It's just all of it. Just the fighting is it's a and it's exactly right. Like that's what Broken Sword we want. Is it's this beautiful poetic
Hmm.
style of
Hmm.
fighting. It's not just the hacking and smashing that is 300, for example, or it's more of, I mean, the closest that we've probably gotten so far, maybe, is Hector versus Achilles,
Hmm.
where it's like they're a little more power based than just pure control. But that's the fighting style is beautiful, and the cinematography is beautiful, and you talked about the colors of it. However, you want to interpret those colors, also beautiful. It's just a really well done film.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
solid all around from that
yeah.
standpoint.
Okay,
It all comes together nicely. It fits in. It just fits in real well, I
okay,
feel.
all right. I like that. Before we hit the Ron Weasley Award,
Mm.
let's rank our four assassins
Ooh,
4-1. So your best number one. You can toss in Moon if you want, but I'll put her 5 for me. I don't know where
nah,
you're going.
it's
I
fine.
got cool. So our four assassins. So we have Nameless, right? Key character. Sky, the first guy he fights in the beginning. Donnie, yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, and then you've got Broken Sword. Literally has a broken
Mhm.
sword, and then Flying Snow. So number
What are we ranking them on? Like, are we saying
assa-
who's the best? Who's just our favorite?
badassery. Who is
Okay,
just the best of the best of the best?
okay.
You're the best around.
I
Na,
love
na,
it.
na,
Oh, I
na,
love
na,
it.
na, na.
Love it. That is not where I thought you were
Yeah.
going, and I'm
Well,
so happy you went
awesome.
there.
Who's gonna win Bloodsport? That's where I was going.
Oh, God.
Okay. Yeah,
Speaking of heroes.
we gotta do that.
Ah, yeah, we do.
All right, number 4.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna say Broken Sword.
So was I. That's amazing. I thought you were going to be like, no, it's
Okay.
definitely Broken Sword.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
All right. He struck me. He was training from Fine Snow, so he just struck me as not I feel like he's a good,
Yeah.
he's good about the mental, the thinking. I just not quite sure he's 100% there. All right. Number 3. I don't know if you're going to be with me on this. Nameless.
So you're going to go with Nameless? Is that what you said?
Nameless is number 3.
All right. I can see that, but I'm going to go with Sky.
Okay. 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 All right.
So I'll go. So now I'll jump in here and say my number 2
Okay.
is Nameless.
My number 2 is Sky.
So that's it. I mean, I could see either one of
Yeah.
the.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I guess Flying Snow
Flying
is
Snow, man.
numero uno
I,
in our hearts.
yeah.
She's the
Yeah.
best.
She just it was pretty clear that she was a G.
Yeah.
I yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope I hope Nick listens to this podcast and has to just eat that. He's gonna be so annoyed with us. Shout out to Nick. Hope you're
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. No, I Flying Snow. I thought I could have gone either way on those two, and I was like, but
Yeah.
right then when you made me rank it, I was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with
Yeah.
Sky. Sky is 3, but I could see how you changed it.
Yeah, it's all good.
All I
Yeah.
all I cared about honestly was 1 and 4.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that's that was I'd have been had you gone any other way, I was prepared to die on that sword.
I see what you're saying. Well, well, sir.
Couldn't even help myself.
Yeah, I know you can. I know you can. But let's hit a fun section here. This is called the Ron was it Ron Belius Juan Belius Weasley Award. Do you want me to? Do you want to?
Why don't you go? Because I have 2, so I can pull from either one. So
Okay.
if you
Right.
snag mine.
So I also have 2.
Ooh, good. Let's just do them all.
Okay, so this is
Perfect.
the Ron Weasley Award. Like I said, Justin and I have a strong distaste for Ron Juan Belius Weasley.
Look,
If
the summary of this is he just takes and takes and takes
yes,
and gives nothing back.
yep, Yep. Yep.
Speaking of swords I'm willing to die on, this is one.
Yep.
Broken or whole, this is one of the
Yep.
swords.
He's not a good best friend.
Nope.
He's not a strong character on his own. So
Nope.
we have now looked at all our movies, and we'll do it for books too. We'll try and find a Ron Weasley Award. Now, sometimes we have to try, like, because we're gonna give you a name, and this one isn't me trying as well. I think I have two, and it's different stories. So, the Old Scholar. Now, this
Yep.
is the old man who accompanies Broken Sword and Flying Snow and Moon. He is I guess, the head of the calligraphy school. I have no
Yep.
clue.
Yep. That's how I took it.
In every retelling but the Red story, I'm like, and the Red story, he tells all the calligraphers, which also I'm suspect, get back, do your work. Who cares if it's raining arrows? And he just sits there and does his work, and arrows are flying by him and whatnot. Literally half of them die because of what he said. But there is meaning in what he said. Apart from the Red story, I'm like, sir, I don't know what you're doing. He did raise the flag and let him know what happened to Nameless, but yeah. So I'm stretching, but that's him. Now, the inverse. In the Red story, so when they're all dressed in red, my Ron Weasley Award goes to Moon. Moon. She knew what she was doing. She was flaunting her stuff. And this is not me being like, you're blaming the lady. You're blaming the lady. I'm not blaming the lady. I'm not blaming the lady. I also think Broken Sword knew what he was doing too, and he got what he got. He got stabbed. But I think
I know that's not how you mean it.
yes,
I'm very well
I want to
aware.
make sure. I want to clear the
That's
air.
not how you mean it.
But I will say, because she's not a main character, it felt like so weak that's all that she was bringing into the story, that they were bringing her into the story to do. Like, it was just like, oh my God, you're breaking apart the famous Broken Sword and Flying Snow.
Yeah.
Psst, not my thing. But again, this is all about different stories within stories. So if I had to pick, because again, I think like those two would win my Ron Weasley Award.
All right. I can see that.
Okay.
I can see both of those. You know, for all the characters in this movie, there are really not that many characters.
There really
for
aren't.
all the people,
Yeah.
The cast is massive because there's an army and there's like the calligraphy school and there's everybody fighting. It's like there are a ton of people in this film, but there really aren't a ton of characters. So for me, when I was thinking about this watching, and I actually think about this award now when I watch it, and I'm like, all right, who am I going to pick? The first one I thought of was not one, but a group. And it was all of the advisors and ministers at the end that are like telling him that they have to kill Nameless. Yes. I'm like, you guys have done nothing. You've done nothing. You've sat there and watched this assassin come in. Like, you didn't even catch it. You just let it go, and then now suddenly...
But Justin, they're the chorus. It's in a play. It's a Greek tragedy. The tragedy. They're the chorus.
They could still get the Ron Weasley Award, though.
That's
so that for me. I was like, you guys are you're just a bunch of puppets.
Yeah.
And now that he doesn't have the sword to his throat, now let's get it. Let's stab him in the back.
I like that pick. I like that pick.
Et tu Brute.
Okay.
Golly. Okay. That's my number one.
All right.
But then I thought, if you weren't going to let me do that, why don't I get real controversial here? Not even really that controversial. Nameless. Let's talk about this big guy.
Wow.
You have a chance to ensure that an empire or a kingdom doesn't begin and possibly who knows what to the working class and all the other people in these other realms that you're going to unite. You have a chance to set out and do this, and you decide, no, I'm going to allow this to continue.
Okay.
So, I can make that argument. I mean, my first choice, still going with the advisors and the ministers. But if you're going to make me get completely out there controversial on it, it would be Nameless. I'm sorry.
Okay.
He had a chance to end it.
All right.
He didn't end the war or the fighting to do it. And then I'm still not convinced that sparing this guy, this king, actually does end the fighting.
Okay.
So,
fair.
Cut the head off the snake,
fair.
And let's find another way.
Now, this is my one pet peeve of the movie as we get into our favorite part about it. I mean, I don't agree with you with the Nameless thing, but I love the pick. I love it. I
know you don't.
He said all he needed to do was get within 10 paces of the king to kill him. And then the king goes, how are you going to do that, by the way? With your sword. I'm like, so you kind of needed to bum rush him anyway. Like, how are you actually going to kill him? Like, You were supposed to use this like so that part I still not 100 on. Like,
Question:
yes.
would it have been better had since we got different retellings of the
Yeah.
entire story? Would it have been better if we have gotten more of an Inception ending where we had like 2 or 3 different endings on which decision he actually makes, and then we don't aren't left with the decision of what the
And they gave us
finality
like a
is?
blend of colors, like they mixed green. No,
Yes,
I'm just
all of them.
There's
It'll be a
rainbow.
rainbow,
There's a
like the
rainbow.
hat. It'll be like the hat.
There was a rainbow ending. Yes.
Yes,
Yes, I
but no,
concur.
seriously, like it could have been cool. Like had they done, he makes the choice to
Yeah.
eliminate him,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden and then it comes back, and then it makes the choice to let him live.
Only if history wasn't real, we could have
I know, but it would have been a
really
cool. But that would have
yeah.
been a cool way to
No,
end it, I
I
think,
like that. That would have been
because
fun.
the whole story goes that way. It'd have been kind of
Yeah,
neat.
would have been fun. Would have been fun. All right, we're at the end. We're at the end. We're grading. We're putting a grade on this bad boy.
Yep.
So what we do is we grade. We give it a letter grade. And do I need to do this because I'm on film? C, 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 C.
Definitely don't do it however you were just doing it, because that looked ridiculous.
C. Okay, let's do it again.
Yeah, thank you. That's so much better. Oh my
C.
gosh.
C is average. We learned this through our professor at the Paul, Professor Guinea. He took, well, Justin first because he's older, right? Us young freshmen,
Sally.
and he let us know. They're like, listen, C is good work. That's average. Anything better, great. Anything worse, you're worse than average. We like that. It pretty much sticks. So if we tell you it's a C-rated movie, hey, it just does everything. It's a movie. It does what a movie should do. It's plain Jane. You just watch it, you're done.
Nothing
Anything
wrong
better?
with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Nothing great about it, but nothing wrong with it. Anything better than C? It's got some flavor to it. Maybe a little sprinkles, maybe a little mint. It's getting there, right? And you
Little
might get a sundae
seasoning.
out of it. Who
Little
knows? A little
seasoning.
seasoning. Yeah.
I love how you go sweet. You go sweet with all your
You know
choices.
me. You know me, my
Yeah, I do.
sweets.
I do.
Uh, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I don't care.
Hmm. Go ahead. Take this one.
All right. So it was my first time seeing it. I think if I watch it again, or I should say when I watch it again, I think I would pick up on a lot more seeing it a second time, because I really was just enthralled and trapped into the movie itself and just appreciated and enjoyed it very much. So I'm gonna just give it a B. I think it's a good movie. I would watch it again. I'd recommend anybody watch it, especially um, if you like, say, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or
Hmm.
anything along those lines, or that style, or if you just want like a beautiful movie, just a beautifully done movie. This is that, and I thought a B. Yeah, I think it's a B, and I think it's a solid movie, and happy I watched it. Really, really happy I watched it. So
Yeah.
it's good work, above average.
That's good work, man. That's good work. Now, I also will concur with you. I concur, sir. I think for me, the distinction, like I've rated some things really high. Like I'll go to some like Lord of the Rings, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of reasons why, even though I don't think it hits everything perfectly. But with this one, the reason why I'm staying at a B because it's good, does great work. I love the martial arts. I love the visionary of that. Uh, it's the dialogue. The dialogue is still, even, it's limited. It's what? It's like an hour and 40-minute movie.
Yeah.
It's not long, but it still needs a little bit more massaging for me to really hit its stride. But it does everything else really well and it's fun.
Yep.
So I think it's definitely better than average. It's definitely worth a watch. So it's a solid B.
Yeah. And I when I grade, I think back and I'm like, I love Lord of the Rings, and I give that thing
Oh,
just like
nostalgia for
awesome
that too.
scores.
Yeah.
And and I will admit part of it's my own bias towards just loving those movies. But you know what? I completely stand by our B, and I am fine with that if anybody would like to argue differently. But
Yeah.
B it is.
Yeah, yeah. So there we go. That's our discussion on Hero, right? I think few movies make philosophy feel like cinema,
Yeah.
and they they did that. They killed it.
Hero, the movie, on a podcast where we're talking about heroes that has no hero.
Well, listen, I think Justin would disagree with me because I'm like sometimes heroes are the ones who decide when not to fight and to put down the sword. That's what I was gonna say until Justin was like, I don't think there's a hero, but I'm like, you know what? Tell
Hey,
us. Tell us. Let us know.
you're entitled to
Do
that.
you think there's a hero, right? Do you think Nameless is a hero by him putting down the sword? Is that a hero, or do you think, nah, man, he should have done the deed, done it? So let us know. you can hit us up at thefictionpodcast@gmail.com. You can also drop a message to us at the Fiction Podcast on Instagram. If you liked what you saw or what you heard, subscribe, like us, follow us, all the above. It really does help. Continue to engage with us. We've really enjoyed the conversations we've had. We're going to pivot a little bit next week. We're going to stay in the Far East, but we're going to switch to a little animation. And
It's gonna
listen,
be good.
listen, just like the Prince of yeah, Prince of Egypt, yeah, just like the Prince of Egypt. This is an animation, but it has really adulty themes. So we're going to pivot to our favorite lady, Mulan.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. All right, we'll see you next week, y'all. Cheers.
Can't wait.